I kind of ran into a little problem here. I'm running out of soil, and I didn't want to go to big box stores and buy soil from a box store because you know what type of quality that you're getting, and you're paying for it, and the soil doesn't have the natural bacteria that's in your environment. So I thought it'd be a great idea. Let's get soil that's kind of local, and you know, I go to places that are far from industry, and just like a natural environment where I see a lot of plants doing well in their natural habitat. And it's kind of tricky, you know, you got to find places where, you know, you're not trespassing, and you know, you got to watch out, of course, for contaminations and stuff. And I found this pretty rich looking soil. Can't really do much with it unless you get your hands dirty. Just gotta get in there, break up the soil by hand, remove any rough pieces. This particular soil looks like that they were doing some burns in that area, so it's got a lot of that. Probably be pretty good soil. It's also a good sign when you see earthworms. I saw a few earthworms in here. So just gotta get your hands dirty pretty much. What I like to do is I like to break it up, take out the twigs, break it down, get to where the plants will be able to absorb it much easier. And what I tried with last time, because I noticed when I've been watering my towers that the water retention wasn't very good because I didn't have anything really to hold that water in, like perlite or something. So what I did was I actually had some coconut baking powder. And that really, because I noticed it really held a lot of water, because I would add water to a recipe. I found out that really that coconut really holds a lot of water. So I've noticed I can go an extra 24 hours almost before watering when I add the coconut powder. So I'm probably going to add some of that. Probably would help with the flavor too, I imagine, with the plants. Gardening, I recommend everybody to start somewhere. Get some of your food from your garden and expand from there. As you see, I don't have much space to work with. Very limited space, but you know, that made me think, you know, I got to go up. If I can't go horizontal, I got to go vertical. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. And more food I can grow here, less food I'm buying at the store. Not all organic is good organic. You're going to find some organic products that you know, they're still doing fish emulsion from the Pacific. They're still taking carrageenan, and they're still taking seaweed from the Pacific. And it's just not a good idea right now. There's a lot of farmers, a lot of organic farmers, that they don't know about Fukushima. They don't know that the contamination's around us. And there's steps that we need to be doing, extra steps. I was even thinking about adding charcoal to the soil just to absorb particulates. But there's something that happens too, because there's a lot of, you know, glyphosate that's been added to the soil. I think they said about 70% of the U.S. soils are contaminated with glyphosate in most of these farmer fields. And that really destroys the bacteria inside the soil, and that you try to grow other things in that soil now, you know, a lot of the plants, they don't do well. And this happened in India. I think they were putting glyphosate into the soil, and what happened was these Indians, they started getting depressed and they started killing themselves. What's happening? Because I can tell you this, that when I put my hands in soil like this, that's not from a farmer's field, that's never been used, I feel better. There's something about putting your hands in some rich, dark soil. It shouldn't smell anything really. It should be just like an earthy smell. Breaking this down, I don't like to put too much in here at one time. Putting your hands in soil like this is actually, I think, really good for you, really beneficial. And you're going to feel more healthy because there is some type of connection here. Because you see a lot of these plant soils, I mean, it's really sad. I mean, I was looking at what you'll find at Walmart, and they have this stuff that's, well, it almost looks like it's organic. I don't know what they call it, organics or something like that. It is actually sewage. Like the animals that eat the sewage, and people put that on their plants. It's just crazy to me. I don't know. I guess I get turned off by crap, especially human crap. I just stick to the worm crap. I think that's the best option. But getting back to the Indians, when they started to spraying glyphosate on their crops, they started committing suicide. I really think a lot of that, once you lose the soil biology, probably went crazy. No longer were they feeling good when they put their hands in the soil, they're probably feeling bad. And that's not an accident. So, farming after Fukushima. Yeah, it's going to be very hard to escape the contamination all around us. I mean, ideally, I would be having like a reverse osmosis filtering my water and having a cover over my plants and stuff. This looks like pretty rich soil. I took this from an area that had a lot of pine trees, and I just like took off the top layer, and this was the stuff that was underneath. There was also some Melaleuca trees around that area. It's a native of Australia. It's on Florida's #1 invasive watch list, so it's not a tree that they want to keep around. But it was brought here to drain the swamp, basically. Drain the swamp. And now they want to get rid of it. I guess it fulfilled its purpose. The Melaleuca is much more aggressive plant here than it is in Australia. I think the seeds, it lets out 10 times more seeds than it does ones that grow in Australia. And it does, it just takes over an area. It's a mono forest. Once you got it going, it will just pretty much take over. They say they can't handle it, but they could. I mean, there's so many people that, need jobs, that if they just say, or they just tell people, look, let's just plant native plants, take those trees down, give people like an area. There's probably people that would love to grow some native plants instead of, Melaleucas. Give people an area to work with. And you could eventually turn those mono forests into a native plant forest just by letting people, take over a certain area. Let them plant some native plants there. Like I said, there's just so many of these trees around that they feel like they can't do it, but they always want to do it with like a chemical. As you can see, I'm getting it to much more of a finer soil now. It's pretty good stuff. I'm going to add a few things to it to make it a little bit more rich. Might even add deactivated charcoal just so I have some type of filtering agent. But this is going to be the next soil that I use to put in my towers. Yeah, so get your hands dirty. Put your hands in that soil, get it dirty. There's some good biology in here. I noticed that my hands almost started glowing like when I would do this every day. There's definitely something going on there. I can't explain it. Don't be afraid to get dirty. Get your hands dirty. So as you can see here, I just keep breaking it down. You'll see like these little granules. I'll just squeeze those just to give a more fine composition. And it's like black gold almost. This is like really dark, rich, and organic matter. So yeah, you could easily spend a half an hour just with breaking this down. But I wouldn't consider it a waste of time. Your plants are going to do really well when the soil's broke down with your hands. Really kind of manually intensive, but it's good for you, good for your plants. I was just thinking on my tower, what I could do is I could layer some activated charcoal on the top, so when it rains, I'll have some type of filtering process before it hits the roots of the plants. So I've picked a few strawberries off here. They go from green to red in about 4 or 5 days. Really tasty. I have gotten soil from different spots. This one's not quite as dark as this location where I found this rich dark material. What I also noticed too, I did find more rocks and snails and stuff in this material, but this one I didn't find rocks, and that's because this is literally like compost because of the Melaleuca tree and the pine bark and all that, the needles. That was just breaking down, so there's really no rocks there. That's what it is. It's like a fine compost of that broken down Melaleuca bark and pine tree. And I knew as soon as I stuck the shovel in, it was really easy to go down. This is pretty rich stuff right here. Make sure you're not trespassing anybody's property or anything like that. I made sure that I didn't see no trespassing signs. Plus, you know, like I said, the Melaleuca it's actually the #1 invasive plant, so I'm actually doing a favor by taking the soil away from those invasive species. Which actually, I was probably going to make another video about that, but the Melaleuca tree, it has the same fire potential as coal. So there's a lot of potential where you could even want to plant a Melaleuca in Florida, and you could probably get rid of the nuclear plants just by doing that, because there's so many Melaleuca trees in Florida that there's real potential there, and it does make a great potting soil, as you can see here.